Hello everyone, welcome to this brand new series on ZenChakras. Just to give a broad idea about what we are going to be doing during this series. So I'm going to be drawing the 7 chakras of the human body. Those of you who are healers or who practice yoga very regularly must be aware of the chakra system in our body. Yeah, so we are going to be drawing the 7 chakras, which are placed at different positions in our body, through which our energy flows. If you're a healer, then that is the places that you concentrate in order to heal somebody, depending on whatever issues or problems they have. Even if you are not healer, then they are the energy points which we treat, which we give energy to, so that we heal ourselves. So I'm going to be working on this round tiles. They are basically bigger than the Zendala tiles. It is 14.5 centimeter or 6 inches about 6 inches in diameter. So I've cut it out using my A5 sheets that I had, or you can use A4 papers. Besides that, I will be using a boulder nib, the Micron 05, or you can use a PN, or you can use an 08 or 10, whatever is readily available. The normal tools, that is the shading pencil, the white charcoal, the blending tools. We may use the compass a little bit, right? Although I will avoid using it as much as possible, but a little bit may be required. So I will use the gray brush pen for shading a little bit. I'm going to use acrylic colors for my chakras, right? So whatever you have handy, if you have gouache, gouache has a opaque finish. Acrylic colors have a more glossy finish. Or if you have simple watercolors, watercolor pencils, whatever is readily available with you, please go with that. Keep some jelly roll pens handy, we may use them. Eraser to get rid of some lines that we will be drawing, some part of the sacred geometry that we'll be creating using our pencil. Yeah, and last but not the least, I'm going to be using the Markus Operandus, right? This is the Markus that we generally use in our Zentangle practice. So I will try my best to do all the geometry part of the chakras using this Markus only, right? So we will not get too much into the geometrical part of the chakras, and try using the Markus to the best of its capability to create symmetry while drawing our chakras, right? So let's get started with our brand new series. Yes. So let's get started with drawing our first chakra, that is the root chakra or the Mooladhara chakra. Yes. So what I've done is placed my piece of paper, which is the bigger Zendala tile, on this Markus Operandus in this manner, right? This is the Markus Operandus, and I'm going to place it in the center because this circle is a little bigger than the tile, and just mark these 4 points and find the center of the circle, right? So what I have done is placed this circle in the center of the bigger circle, and then marked these 4 points, and then drawn the line to find the center of this circle. Yeah. Now what I'm going to do is, for ease, so that this tile of mine does not move from its place, I'm just going to add a small tape and stick the tile to my Markus like this. Yes. And now let us use a little bit of compass, not much. As I mentioned, I'm not going to be using too many tools here, but yes, we would need the compass. Yes. So I'm going to start and draw a circle inside like this. Yes. And then I'm going to add a square inside the circle. So how do I draw the square? So again, I will be using my Markus, right? So from this part to this part, I think this 0 is the center, right? On both sides, if you can see here and here, right? So I'm just going to draw a line passing through the center, coinciding with these two points like this. Yeah. So just, I'm trying to be somewhat accurate, but not exactly. Again, I will do the same exercise on the other side like this. Yeah, so we used these 4 points, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Right, so we now have 4 more points. I'm now going to join these to form a square inside. Somewhat square, yes. And then there is a triangle inside the chakra. So I'm just going to add a triangle here. So 1, 2 and 3. Yeah. And then we write lum inside. So we will do that. First we will draw the petal shapes, right? So next comes the petal shapes. For petal shapes, I'm going to add one more outer circle so that the petal size of the petals is somewhat similar, right? So I'm going to draw an outer circle now, like this, right? And then I'm going to use my pencil and draw the petal. Again, we have the references already. So here comes the first one, right? And then there will be 4 petals. So now again I can extend this line for reference so that my petals are somewhere in the center. The curves, the second one, the third one, and you can extend this line a little more, and the fourth one. So our chakra drawing is complete using the Markus. So I'll just repeat for you what I did. I started with this 4 points and found out the center of this circular tile, right? After that, what I did is I drew a circle as much big as you want. That size is as per your choice. And then what I did is I drew a cross, right? So I drew these lines passing through the center. So I got these 4 points to draw the square, and then almost just about 1 centimeter I drew another line and I joined it here to form the triangle. And then we already have these lines, right, connected. So I have just added the petal shapes using the reference of these lines and the reference of the outer circle so that they are of the same width. Yeah, so that's the process I used. Now we are going to write lum inside and then straight away start to tangle. So this is how you can use your Markus to kind of ensure that there is some symmetry in your drawing, since this is sacred geometry. And now we can proceed further. So I'm first going to write lum inside. So how do we write lum? We can now get rid of these lines because their job is done. So some bit of eraser being used here because there are too many lines. So lum, I'm going to write simply with a dot here. Yeah, so let's get started. Let us first pen our chakra. So I'm going to be using a boulder nib here. This is my O5. You can use O8, you can use 10, whatever you are comfortable with. Yeah. So now let us start to draw. So I'm going to first start with my circle that we drew. So we are going to double line them so it looks nice, and when we ink it, the lines are clear. Right? So that was the first, and I'm going to double line it. Slowly take your time, add an inner aura. So as far the color of this chakra is concerned, it is red, and it is situated at the end of our spine, the base of the spine. Yes. So I'm now inking my square. Again going to double line it. Right, and then going to ink my triangle. Again going to double line it. Then going to ink my lum. Yeah, then moving on to our 4 petal shapes. So you can see how easy it is to draw the chakra with some bit of symmetry using the Markus. Yes, because all these important points are already there on the Markus, so why not use them? So those of you who are new to Zentangle, you can download the Markus from Zentangle's official website. Markus is a kind of a measuring tool that we use in our Zentangle practice, because we do not use other measuring tools like a scale or a protractor or a eraser, anything of that sort. So Markus comes to our rescue. So that's our chakra. Now, if you want, you can also ink this outer circle, or you may not do that, right? So now comes the coloring part, or let us first tangle and then we will move on to coloring. Yes, you can either use a gouache paint, or you can use your brush pen, or you can use an acrylic color. If you want glossy effect, you can use acrylics. If you want opaque finish, you can use your watercolors. Yes, so I have got rid of the lines. Now let us get to tangling. So I'm first adding a double line aura, a border at the edges of my tile also, using the same O5. As far as this tile is concerned, it is 6 inches in diameter, and I have cut it out from an A5 sheet. You can use any sheet. So I'm adding another aura. So the space that will be left, it is not too much of a space. You can always reduce the size of your chakra also in case you want to tangle more. Right? So let's get started. So what I'm going to do is actually use this circle also that we drew with our pencil. Yeah, and then I can add another aura here. Slowly take your time. And these spaces I'm going to be inserting really small orbs. Yeah, so you can either use your PN or a finer nib. So I'm going to simply go with the tangle tipple here. Simple tangle to draw and keep it really small like this. Yeah, you can choose any tangle of your choice. Draw lines, draw flowers, draw knight's bridge, jongle, anything that you wish to. Yeah, I feel like drawing tipple, or maybe we draw tipple on two sides and draw knight's bridge on the other two. Let's see. So slowly take your time, patiently draw these small orbs and fill up two of the spaces. Like this. Yeah. Take your time. So I'm continuing to add the small orbs, very tiny tipple. On the other side. So talking a little more about the Muladhara chakra or the root chakra, as I mentioned, it is at the base of the spine and related to the adrenal gland. So when you are healing your root chakra, you are basically dealing with organs like kidney, your bladder, the spine, the legs, the bones, right? So whenever you have issues with these areas or organs, you generally heal your Muladhara. It's basically for grounding, for survival, humility, security, vitality. Yeah, so going on like that. So this chakra basically represents the earth element in our body. Yes, so we did that on two sides. Now if you want, you can do that on the other two also, or you can go with knight's bridge. So let us do something different on the other two sides. So I'm just going to draw a checkerboard, which is the Tangle Knight's bridge. Right, so first I'm drawing the grid. Take your time. Slowly do that exercise on both sides. And then we can go ahead and ink alternate squares. Slowly take your time. Do that exercise on both sides. Right, so we have drawn the checkerboard. Now again you can use a boulder nib, or you can go ahead with your pen only, and what I'm going to do is ink. Yeah, so this will take a little bit of time, so do it at your own pace. Be patient, take your time. And do that exercise. Yes, so just like a chessboard or a checkerboard, I'm going to ink alternate squares. Take your time and slowly do that exercise. Yeah, it's a drama tangle. You can see how it instantly adds so much of drama to your tile. Yeah, so I'm still inking my Knightsbridge, and you can see the drama that it adds just because it has some inked portions. It instantly gives a lift to your tile. And we are done. Yeah, so that's how we have done these 4 spaces. Now the rest of the space we can now divide it into sections and add any fragment of our choice. Yeah, I'm going to be using this pen only, so I'm going to, why not take the reference of these lines that we already have and then divide it into somewhat equal segments. Yeah, so choose a fragment of your choice, and you can use that fragment in this space, in these sections that we are creating. Yes, any fragment of your choice. I think this will be 2. Yeah, right. So I'm going to use a simple fragment which has muka on the 4 sides. So it goes like this: 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, so I'm going to be using this fragment. Now it is up to you. You want to replicate all in the same direction, or you want to reverse the direction. I'm going to go with the same direction. Yeah, so just continue. Muka, keep rotating your tile. Yeah, so let's do that for all the sections. So you have space in between. Now it is up to you. What do we want to do with the inside space? You can do anything you feel like. take your time, slowly do that exercise for all the sections. Yeah? So I'm almost finishing drawing my fragment. Just a few sections left, and I'm going in the same fashion, rotating my tile, adding mukas, touching the four sides of my somewhat square like section. Yeah. So just take your time and do it at your own pace, slowly, in whatever spaces you have. So we are done drawing the chakras, so don't bother too much about symmetry now. Feel free to tangle the way you want. Yeah, done with that. Now what I'm going to do for the inside space is just squeeze in an orb inside and ink the rest of the space. Like this. Yeah, so as big as you can, like this. Again, don't bother about the shape. Whatever spaces you have, just squeeze an orb in. Like this. And ink the rest of the space that is left. Yeah, slowly do that exercise for all. Take your time. Do it at your own pace. Don't bother about the shape and size. That's fine. Yeah. So I'm done with that exercise. Now there are some spaces left. So it is up to you. How do you want to tackle it? So I'm just going to add some fine lines there. Or you can add some auras. Or you can add some tipples again. So whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm just going to add some fine lines. You can also add some color there if you want. Yeah. So I'm just going with some lines. So take your time. This is going to take a little bit of time. So do it at your own pace. Do that exercise for all the small little spaces left here and there. The in between, the other side. Yeah. So I'm going to do that for all. So I have added those fine lines on both sides of my muka, and this is how it looks like, right? Now let us first get on to coloring, and then we shall see if we want to add something else. Yeah. Do it at your own pace. So acrylic color have a glossy finish. So if you don't want a glossy finish, you want a matte finish, you can go with gouache, you can go with watercolors. So I'm going to do that throughout for all. So I'm almost finishing with my coloring. I've colored my chakra red. The center triangle, you can either go with coloring the triangle also with red, or what I'm going to do is instead leave the triangle white and color the lump. Yeah, so that's what I think I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do is color my lump. So very carefully I'm just going to add red inside the lump. And I think we are done with the coloring also. So first we'll shade our tangle and then we'll see if we want to add something to this part of our chakra. So moving on to shading, I will just add graphite on these dividers because I see white there. So the shading will probably cover up the white. You can also shade it as a border and add graphite on both sides. Let's see if we will need to do that. We will do that also. First I'm adding on the dividers where I see white. Right, and then I'm just going to add graphite here. Just make sure you don't get inside those double lines. They are key to highlighting your chakra. Again, I'm going to add here. Same on 4 sides. Don't add too much because spaces are small. You don't want the entire thing gray. Yeah, so let's blend this much. So slowly take the graphite away from the edges without blending too much. Make sure your ink has dried up. So I have used here a really thick 300 GSM paper because I had to use colors also. So make sure you use a good quality paper so that the color doesn't damage your tile. I've started posting the description to all the tools, supplies that I use during my video in the description section of the video. So you can refer there. You will get the links. Right, now let us blend this. Take your time, slowly do that exercise. So if you have your white chalk pencil handy, then you can always highlight this part of your Knightsbridge, add some chalk so it gets highlighted. Use a different blending stuff to just soften it. Same with the tipple. So it's important that you keep your shading to the edges so that you can add these highlights. So this will give you a little 3D effect. Right? Now what you can do is use your brush pen. So if you have your gray brush pen handy, what we generally use for highlighting our dark shades, I'm going to use that inside here instead of my pencil, which I don't think will work on my paint. So I'm just adding a layer of this brush pen inside to add a little bit of extra darkness there. Yeah, just to give a shadow kind of an effect. Yeah, so it's again up to you. If you want, you can do that. If you want, you can do away with it. So I'm just adding a little extra darkness. You want, you can use a darker shade of red and do that with a brush and paint, something like maroon color, and then use it with your brush to add this shading kind of an effect. Yeah, you can see it's very subtle, but it does add a 3D kind of an effect. So you can, this is this I was having handy, gray brush pen, so I decided to use it, and it is showing, so why not use it. Yeah, now if you want, you can add some red inside here. This is the brush pen, you can see it's different, the color is different. I'm just giving an outline there. You can always blur the brush pen and color. Yeah, what more you can do is use a pen and add texture on this red. Yeah, so you can do that also, but I'm not very sure if the pens will run on this, right? So let me see. So I have my O5 jelly roll here. Yeah, it is a really fine nib. And what I'm going to do is, in fact, see if it shows. I'm just going to add some printums. Yeah, it does. You can draw over your paint like this, right? So if you wish, you can embellish a little. If you think it is too much of red there, you can do that. Yeah. Like this. So it is up to you whether you want to give a texture throughout or just at a few places. So once your paint has dried up, then you can use your jelly roll over it. That's what I'm doing here. And it's working fine. Take your time. Choose any tangle of your choice. That is totally your call, whatever you feel like. Yeah, so you can see I've done that. If you want to do this in these sections also, you can. Yeah, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it here. Some bit of brush pen. And we are done with our first chakra. Yes. A little bit of shade there. That's it. So that's our first. I'm going to, I will not put my chop in this. Yeah. So you can sign and date and put in a comment if you want at the back side. Yeah. So I shall see you again with the second session on Zen Chakras. Have a good time. Bye-bye. Do post your feedback. I look forward to them.